So now you know briefly about condensed milk and evaporated milk. Now I'm going to talk about the process of making these two milk in detail. So let's start with condensed milk. Well, for condensed milk, first thing first, the milk is flash heated to about 85 degrees Celsius for several seconds. It is then piped to the evaporator where the water is removed. The milk is then concentrated under vacuum pressure until it measures between 30 to 40% solid. So it now has a syrupy consistency. The milk is cooled and then inoculated with approximately 40% powdered lactose crystal. And then the milk is agitated to stimulate crystallization. Note to self that it is the sugar that preserves the condensed milk. The milk is piped into sterilized cans that are vacuum sealed. Now for evaporated milk. First, the raw milk is transported from the dairy farm to the plant in refrigerated tank trucks. At the plant, the milk is tested for odor, tests bacteria, sediment, and the composition of milk protein and milk fat. The composition of protein and fat is measured by passing the milk under highly sensitive infrared lights. The milk is piped through filters and into pasteurizers. Here, the milk is quickly heated. The ultra-high temperature, or also known as UHT, method heats the milk to 138 degrees Celsius for 2 seconds. The method increases the milk stability, decreases the chance of coagulation during storage, and decreases the bacteria level. The warm milk is piped to an evaporator through the process of vacuum evaporation, which is exposing a liquid to a pressure lower than atmospheric pressure. Then, the boiling point of the milk is lowered to 40 to 45 degrees Celsius. As a result, the milk is concentrated to 30 to 40 degrees Celsius solids. The milk is then homogenized by forcing it under high pressure through tiny holes. This breaks down the fat globules into minute particles, improving its color and stability. The pre-measured amount of stabilizing salts such as potassium phosphate are added to the milk to make it smooth and creamy. This stabilization causes the milk to turn a pale tan. The milk is passed under a series of ultraviolet lights to fortify it with vitamin D. And then the milk is piped into pre-sterilized cans that are vacuum sealed. So there you have it, the process of making these two milk in detail. Now we are going to discuss about the difference between these two milk.
Both evaporated and condensed milk start with cow's milk and are made by removing about 60% of the water to form a concentrated, shelf-safe form of milk.
However, there are few key differences between evaporated milk and condensed milk regarding sugar content, color, flavor, and texture.
As for the flavor, evaporated milk is heat sterilized. As the result, it has caramelized flavor.
While condensed milk does not need to be heat sterilized like evaporated milk, so it does not have the same caramelized flavor.
In terms of color, evaporated milk has a tan color due to the concentration of lactose and protein that occurs during cooking.
While sweetened condensed milk is lighter in color due to the high concentration of sugar.
Lastly, the difference in texture, evaporated milk adds a lighter, airier texture to baked goods like pies and cakes,
while condensed milk provides a dense creaminess.
The traditional standards are the British standard, which requires a minimum of 9% milk fat and a minimum of 31% total milk solids. And the US standard with a minimum of 7.9% milk fat and 25.9% total milk solids. For your information, the Codex Alimentarius is a collection of international food standards, codes of practice, guidelines, and recommendations. The standard required by the Codex is the most common in international trade, having a minimum of 7.5% milk fat and 25% total milk solids. Thus, the concentration factor ranges from 2.0 to 2.5. The Codex allows adjustment of the percentage of protein in the solids, not fat, the minimum being 34% by adding milk permate, lactose, or milk retention. Now, let's talk about condensed milk. The Codex requires a minimum of 8% milk fat, a minimum of 28% total milk solids for full-fat condensed milk. And milk protein in milk solids, not fat, should be higher than 34%. Sugar is generally considered to be sucrose, but a combination of sucrose with other sugars may be used at a concentration that assures the keeping quality of the product. The sucrose content should be about 45% for full-fat condensed milk. The product contains only about 27% water, so the concentration factor of milk solids relative to water is very high, about 7.3%. The codex allows adjustment of the percentage of protein in the solids, not fat, to any value above 34% by adding milk ultrafiltration, permate or retentate, or lactose. Various salts, lecithin and carrageenan may be added to regulate viscosity, creaming, and age gelation aspects. Based on my research, these are the examples of high quality for evaporated milk and condensed milk. The FNN evaporated milk is free of cholesterol and trans fatty acids, high in calcium and vitamins A and D3. Meanwhile, Dairy Champ condensed milk makes food and beverages tastier and creamier, and it can enhance any of delicacy.